I'm going to spend less time on this one, um, interviewing, but this cartoon was awesome. I thought getting a job in the 70s was, hey, you've got a pulse. Yeah. Can you show up on Monday? And we've all been guilty of this, even in today's market. Like I said, when I owned the donut company, open interviews, yeah, you can start tomorrow. Awesome. You've got a job. Um, but now there's so many jobs out there that this interviewing phase becomes mission critical. And when I stop and think about the interviews that I was conducting, other interviews I've been in, questions that I've asked of some of these contractors, I really think a great interview boils down to 3 points. Point one, organized. Uh, Again, you don't want to come across as an unorganized company day one or interaction one. So make sure you're organized, make sure all the steps in communication are thought through, all of the setup of the interview, all the timing, everything is thorough, it's organized, because they're interviewing you as much as you are interviewing them. And to get the right rock stars, that's how you want it to be. So making sure you're organized is super important. Um, and then it comes down to great questions. And to each their own here, but I would strongly encourage questions that are going to get answers that surround your values as a business, your missions, your goals, making sure that this person is a fit for your company. Do they fit that culture that you're striving to create? Um, so, yeah, you can ask, like, have you ever, done a coding in a garage? Does that really truly matter at the end of the day? Maybe, maybe not. But how do you handle certain situations? Tell me about a time when. So making sure that your questions are getting them to answer things that are going to show you, hey, do you fit this type of company? And then pay very close attention to the questions that they ask. What types of questions are they asking? Because you can get a lot from the type of questions that they're asking. You can learn a lot about them. And then ultimately, and I think we've all kind of fallen guilty to this at some point in time, but you have to let them talk. You should be hiring around your culture, their ambition, their intelligence, their potential. And if you're doing all of the talking or not giving them open-ended or situational questions, you're not giving them a great opportunity to talk. And that's when you're truly going to learn the most about those individuals. Garrett, great question about missing a few slides. Yeah, we'll make sure we get these slides available to you after the webinar. The webinar will also be available on demand, so you can just pop back to those slides and hear it. So real quick on the interview, the 3 pieces. Obviously, there's more pieces to that, but in my opinion, if you have an organized interview with great questions and an open forum to where they are doing the vast majority of the talking, you're going to set yourself up for success. So why do those 3 things matter? It helps to either set or continue that employer brand, making sure that they know, hey, we're a well buttoned up machine here. We're a great company. We're able to talk about what we value and what our goals are and what our mission is. So you really set and continue that. If done correctly, a great interview is going to help the cream rise to the top. And I thought back on this one pretty hard because I said to myself, man, there was definitely times where I'd interview 3, 5, 7 people. And it was difficult for me to figure out, hey, who of these 3, 5, 7 were truly the best? They all seemed very similar. And at the end of the day, I think that was probably a flaw in me interviewing versus the fact that they were actually very similar. So setting your interviews up to where you're going to help the right people rise to the top. And a good interview is going to then increase your yes potential on those right people. So I found the right people. They rose to the top. They still see us as a great brand that they want to work for. Increase that yes potential. And while you increase the yes potential of the right people, you also decrease the bad offer potential. And that's a huge piece right there is I want to make sure that I don't have bad offers. So be upfront, be clear. What is it like working here? What is expected of employees here? Make sure that you're very open and honest in this interview phase while you're doing these things. So that way, when you get that yes, it's of somebody that's truly going to be a needle mover that you truly want to retain in your business. And there's our CFO. Probably don't recognize that face, but the most expensive person you hire is someone who doesn't work out. Back to that stat of what it costs to replace somebody that leaves 33 to 50% of their annual pay to replace them through recruiting, time that it takes to interview, what we're going to talk about next of onboarding, any lost training that you have. So significant amount of money that it's going to take to replace someone. So making sure that we're recruiting really well, getting the right people into the interview phase, then making sure that we set that interview phase up so that we're weeding out those people that aren't the right fit for our company is going to be mission critical, save you a ton of time and money to where when we get into this next phase of onboarding that we're good to go.